This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Whether you need a domain, website, or online store, make it with Squarespace.
All right.
Alright, what is going on, everyone? Welcome to a new YouTube video. Today we actually have a pretty exciting video for you guys. It's a BTS of a photo shoot that I did last week for this really rad clothing company called Vince. They're a high-end men's and women's apparel brand based here actually in Los Angeles. I don't know how many of you actually noticed, but my typical day-to-day job is actually still a photographer. This YouTube channel is, growing very rapidly and I'm super excited about that. But for now, photography is still my main thing, and that's how I make the majority of my money, is shooting commercial campaigns and branded social campaigns for automotive, clothing companies, kind of anything in that sort of lifestyle category is what I tend to stick to for my photography work. I just thought it would be really fun to bring you guys along for once and show you kind of the pre-production stuff, how we got everything organized, and the actual shoot, what gear I used, what gear I decided to not use, how we kind of went about taking these sort of photos, and then my final thoughts on the images as well. So sit back, relax, let's roll that intro, and we'll show you guys kind of what we got up to for this BTS photo shoot. So essentially how this photo shoot came to life actually is Vince is doing this really cool activation where they're shooting a lot of different California creatives, mostly in the Southern California area. And that term creative can mean anything from graphic designers to photographers, illustrators, and anything in between. So essentially what they asked me to do was go find someone that I knew already or someone that I knew of that I wanted to take photos of in their space wearing the Vince clothing and showcase their kind of daily lifestyle, morning routine through a series of photos that are going to live on Vince's social and digital platforms as well as over on my Instagram. So as we were chatting about this shoot, I actually had a number of different people in mind that would fit the bill for this specific shoot. We ended up going with my buddy Dylan. He has a woodworking studio over in East Los Angeles and Silver Lake specifically in his backyard. Just a cool looking dude, really nice, has a dog as well, and just someone I knew that would be really fun to take photos of and kind of showcase what he does for a living. As far as props go and stuff, we actually rented this really cool Mercedes for the shoot. I really love the mint green exterior color mixed with the brown leather interior. I think it really made the images pop, and it was just like a really cool car to park in his backyard as we were taking these photos. Even if it was just in the background, I really think it added to the images a lot. I shot this campaign on a mix of film and digital cameras, mostly on the Canon EOS R with either a 35mm lens or an 85mm lens. And then I shot a one roll of film entirely on the Mamiya RZ67 with the 90mm lens. That was also a dream to shoot with. I only shot one roll. I think it's a common misconception that I shoot a lot of my campaigns on film. I do a lot of film for fun, but to be honest, on those high-end shoots, I really need to be able to review my images pretty quickly and sometimes even tether to a MacBook or whatever that may be. Digital is just a lot more convenient when it comes to that kind of stuff. We started out with Dylan making some coffee in his house. The light was really nice and I wanted to be able to take some photos with the light coming through the doorway and into the kitchen itself. We made a French press and then I kind of had him sip his coffee and enjoy it in the backyard. I really loved this image in particular with the sun kind of shining on him while he's drinking his coffee. I just kind of had him naturally do this. I didn't really tell him to pose too much just because when I tell someone to do something like that where they're sipping the coffee, usually it does end up looking kind of posed, and I really wanted this shoot to have a very natural and non-staged vibe to it. Dylan also has a really cute dog named Alfie, and we shot some photos with Alfie as well. I really wanted this shoot to kind of bring to life who Dylan is as a person, and obviously his dog is a very important part of his life. I really love these images in particular where they're kind of playing outside, and I shot it through the actual house, so we get kind of multiple layers of different doorways and things in the foreground, and then finally you see him and Alfie playing with a car in the background. I really think this gives a very cool perspective. I shot this image in particular with an 85mm lens, and I really think this kind of lets Dylan be himself. especially with his dog, and it allows me to capture it from a bit farther away, so I'm not right in his face with a wider lens. So being that Dylan is a woodworker, we obviously wanted to include this in the shoot as well. It was really nice. He actually already had some furniture out in his backyard that he was in the middle of staining. So these photos look nice and natural. I really like the ones with the car in the background. The sun was actually just rising over the garage, so that made for some really nice, even light on him as well. And I think these photos overall just give like a nice vibe to the actual shoot when you look at it as a whole, kind of as a collection. It's not just like a straightforward fashion editorial. These photos definitely give it a different perspective. I think my favorite images though definitely have to be the ones with the Mercedes. We had Dylan sit in the car, and I really just loved how the light was hitting his face. We did some kind of direct light stuff where the light was hitting his face, but it was these really kind of soft shadows, and I just think it looks incredible. I particularly love this black and white image. It's probably my favorite image from the shoot. I just love how cropped and zoomed in it is while getting the full kind of body elements of the car. I think this really vintage look, especially because I decided to go with a black and white edit for this image, made it a bit more timeless. Dylan is sitting right there and the light just hitting his face looks so sick. I also love these images as well where Dylan is leaning against the Mercedes. I think it gives off a relaxed sort of vibe while still having that fashion element to it. I really love the Sherpa jacket, the blue and the brown interior of the jacket paired with the mint green exterior and the kind of brown leather of the car. It just looks amazing. I was so pumped on how all of these images turned out. So we finished the shoot in about 2 hours, and I shot again 1 roll of film and about 300 or so images. I culled those down and delivered about 10 images to the client, and they were all super happy with the images, as was I, so that's always a great feeling. Hopefully we get to work together on some projects upcoming in the near future. But if you guys want to check these images out, I've actually linked them down below. Make sure to go check those out. Let me know you guys' thoughts on the images as well, and let me know kind of if you enjoyed this sort of BTS styled video. I actually really enjoyed making this video for you guys. I think it kind of gives an interesting perspective to what I do for a living, and it feels very raw and authentic, for lack of a better word, just showing you guys how I actually would go about shooting something like this. So thanks so much for watching, guys. As always, hopefully you enjoyed this one. We will see ya in the next one. Peace. Thanks again to our sponsor, which is Squarespace, for sponsoring today's video. If you are looking to create a custom website from scratch without all the coding and hassles that come with it, Squarespace is by far the best choice out there to make a beautiful website. They have easy to use templates which make creating a beautiful theme that much easier, 24/7 customer support for all of your questions, and tons of customizable options to really make your website stand out. If you're interested in trying out Squarespace for yourself, go to squarespace.com/Samuel Elkins, which is in the description, to get 10% off your first website or domain purchase.